All right, Trump Jr. is on Newsmax hawking his dad's book, look at this, Media Manipulator. Again, they keep trying to pick pics of Biden that make him look confused, and they only manage to pick ones that make him look like Clint Eastwood. I'm dead serious. Literally, let me see if I can find a gnarly new picture of him from a movie, because there's one from his newest movie. Yeah, there you go. Oh, don't play it. I don't need it. Hold on. God damn it. That's just funny. Hold on one second. That's just fucking funny. Sorry. Can I went to look for his newest, for Cry Macho, a picture from Cry Macho, and a YouTube video came up, so I had to pause it. And I was like scrolling through it trying to find a picture of him, and it just says Je m'appelle Mike. That's how is that not a meme? Sorry. Je m'appelle Mike. All right, I'm grabbing that one. That's a screen grab too. Hold on. I just gotta have that for later. Je m'appelle Mike. Oh God. Bonjour Mike. Ça va bien? Oui, ça va. De rien. Je m'appelle Mike. Hold on. I have to find the picture that I was thinking of, because like, look at that was okay. Hold on. Eastwood, Cry Macho. I'll just look for a picture. Images. Yeah, there it is. This is what I was talking about. This is like all the pictures of Clint Eastwood from this movie look like this. Like every time they pick up a picture of so every time they try to pick a picture of Biden to make him look like I don't know where I am. They always pick a shot of that looks like Eastwood going, "What'd you say to me, boy?" It's the weirdest thing, because they're trying to, embarrass him or whatever. Anyways, let's see. Hold on one second. I have to figure. Vous sentez-vous chanceux, punk? Sorry, I gotta find that other. Vous sentez-vous? Oh shit, how's it go? I just looked it up. I don't know. I'm working on my French. Sentez-vous? That's what it was. It's not a phrase I use very often. Vous sentez-vous chanceux, punk? Je m'appelle Mike. Huh? Anyway, so I'm sure Rob Pitterberry, what's this guy's name is? Rob Shittersauce? I forget what his name is. Rob blah blah blah. Oh, this is okay, WAPO, media harder on Biden than Trump. And by the way, this is materially true. WAPO didn't say this. An AI program that was programmed to see, whether news stories showing the reality materially, economically, and other stuff compared to what the story headlines and the baseline narrative of the story compared to, Biden and Trump, which ones were more honest or which ones were harder on them. And it came back that the computer was like, yeah, clearly the numbers don't explain why people are shitting on Biden the way they are. That's what the program did.
Imagine trying to convince Americans that the media coverage of President Biden has been as bad or worse than it was for President Trump.
Well, for somehow you guys give Trump credit for us getting out of Afghanistan, which he did not do in the entire 4 years, and yet you do nothing but shit on Biden for actually getting us out after 20 years. So yeah, that would be my primary one. Also, we've got 1 million more jobs this year created than were projected in January, and even though inflation is up, so are wages for the first time, even after a pandemic, and their goal to inoculate 70% of the public happened. And the only holdouts are Trump supporters. And Trump himself is distinctly responsible for the vast majority of COVID deaths that are happening in the country. They literally go back to him and him lying about.
Even fathom trying to pull that one off? Well, that's what one Washington Post...
I think I pulled it off quite well, Rob Shinberry? Schmidt. Rob Smite. Something like that.
Dana Milbank claims, of course, after a honeymoon of...
No, he doesn't make that claim. After honeymoon of slightly positive coverage in the first 3 months of the year, Biden's press for the past 4 months has been as bad as or for a time worse than the coverage Trump received for the same 4 months in 2020. Yeah, he's not claiming it. He never claimed it. He didn't make any claim of it. Rob, are you going to explain how he came to that conclusion? Rob, are you going to explain to everyone how Dana Milbank came to that conclusion? Rob, how? Rob Schitt, how did...
Slightly positive coverage in the first 3 months of the year. Biden's press for the past 4 months has been as bad as, and for a
and by the way, if you're gonna say badass, pronounce it better, because Mike would like a word. Je m'appelle Mike. All right. Sorry. That's going to be with me for months.
I'm worse than the coverage Trump received for the same 4 months of 2020. So they did this little study of this same period of time, and this is what he...
Oh, they did this little study? What'd they do? How'd they do it, Rob? How'd they do this little study? I'm assuming people know this. Dana Milbank... Trump. Well, let's see. What'll bring up the story? And let's see. Biden press. Okay, this will bring it up. Keller speaks to the Washington Post column. Yeah, people know. There you go. Well, this is the... Yeah, here it is. Because he doesn't just say, in my opinion. He says something very distinct. He says, here's proof. Which a lot of times doesn't fall in the opinion zone. But okay, it was, it's written in the editorial section of the paper, so that's why it comes up, and that's why it's under the opinion. Media treats Biden as badly as or worse than Trump. Here's proof. Now, where did he come? Did Dana Milbank go back and just like leaf through old newspapers and make notes in the margins? No, he did what we do in the modern era in 2021. A sampling of headlines, a top influential political playbook newsletter over the past month. Let the Democratic freakout begin. Dems start to face the hard questions. Does the White House owe Larry Summers an apology? The other big intra-Democratic fight. No biff bump for Biden. The White House braces for a bad CBO score. Biden dithers. Biden tries to calm nerves about 2024. The case for why Biden is screwed. Even the extraordinary news that jobless claims have dropped to the lowest level in 52 years came with a qualifier. But don't expect the numbers to immediately change Americans' negative perceptions of the economy. By the way, who's responsible for the negative perceptions of the economy that Americans have if it's not the numbers? if it's honest to God, that's an important question I think needs to be asked. If you're not deciding how to feel about the economy based on the numbers, then what are you basing them on? Well, two things. One, your own personal experience, which is weighed against either a fantasy idea of how things should be or a comparison to how they were. That's usually how people on their one go to the grocery. Oh my God, tomatoes are expensive, right? That's the primary one. The second one is whoever you're listening to, right? Whoever you're going on, Kramer, or you're going on CNBC, or you're watching Maria Bartiromo on Fox News, or you're listening to Sean Hannity, and they're telling you that the economy is shit. And even though in your area you're paying, $3.48 for gas at the pump, you're filling your tank going, gas is $5 a gallon because you're being told that it is by those folks, right? So there you go. I could pass for a French dude. I could. Parce que je parle français comme une vache espagnole. I need étudier. I need to study. But it isn't just Politico. My impression of other outlets' coverage of President Biden has been much the same, unrelentingly negative. Was it my imagination? No, it wasn't. Now, that's a pretty declarative statement. That doesn't fall well within the zone of opinion, one would think. Artificial intelligence can now measure the negativity with precision. At my request, Forge AI, a data analytics unit of the information company Fiscal Note, combed through more than 200,000 articles, tens of millions of words from 65 news websites, newspapers, network, cable news, political publications, newswires, and more, to do a sentiment analysis of coverage. Using algorithms that give weight to certain adjectives based on their placement in the story, it rated that the coverage Biden received in the first 11 months of 2021 and the coverage of President Trump got in the first 11 months of 2020. The findings, painstakingly assembled by Fiscal Note, Vice President Bill Frischling, confirmed my fear. My colleagues in the media are serving as an accessory to the murder of democracy. That might be in the realm of opinion, but that's them some fighting words, Dana. The murder of democracy. After a honeymoon of slightly positive coverage in the last 3 months, this is the part that Rob, God damn it, I can't. What was his name again? I gotta look it up. Shit, it's Need to have a shite. That's what it is. Rob, I need to have a shite. This is the analytics. Biden positive first 3 months. Bink. And it's just slightly coming above water. And this is, by the way, as Trump bumped right along, basically just in the realm of this. It's all right. This is positive. He got some positive here, but he went way down really quickly. By the way, this is the how dare you get us out of Afghanistan collapse. Because that's what this is, right here. This is when we start evacuating people. This is when the evacuation basically ends and everybody's like, oh, that sucked. And then, And he's been up to, negative 0.03. But Trump just kind of waddled along. Look how it just went off a cliff. And again, now why would large corporations that own our news, if you want to get all corporate about the whole thing, why would they be pissed that we got out of? Why would beyond that, I mean, it's not like the idea that somehow GE or something dictates headlines is horseshit. But how much you want to bet that the owners of these newspapers, a lot of them, or the editors don't have stock in a lot of these companies like Raytheon if they don't get the inside scoop from somebody like, yeah, we're going to war. Talk about like insider trading before it hits the presses. Here's an AI study for you. How many financial news people have bought or sold stocks or have bought or sold stocks, in their own portfolios around us going to war? Bernie would have gone through worse. Bernie would have had to use a drone strike too, and it would have collapsed because there wouldn't be any baseline. he would just fall through the floor. He had zero support in the mainstream in a lot of ways anyways. So even the normal stuff he did, his entire base would run for the hills. That's just reality. So I would like to see whose financial holdings went up from in the financial news world and in the sort of the world beat news world, knowing full well that, oh shit, these soldiers are coming in here, these fighters are coming back in this area. We've got a reporter on the ground who's sending in a story. I'm buying some Raytheon stock because they have more soldiers headed north than we thought they did. Right? There we go. But dank, look at this business. And look at this. This is from leading up to the election last year. Right? Trump just humped along in the zone he was in. He always had a ceiling of -3, though, which is pretty hilarious. Dude never got up any higher than that. Which is, by the way, why Rob, what's Rob's name?
Need to have shite.
That's right. Rob need to have a shite. Said that's why he thinks that, Trump got nothing but bad press. But that's because they're basically, as a, across the board, they're comparing it to like the Newsmax coverage of the sun shines out of his ass and everybody else going, are you fucking kidding? He just sold China all our beef, corn, and soybeans, and at the same time said they hit us with a bioweapon. What's happening? So, there we go. 936 people in the chat. I think we can get 1,000. I think it's possible. I know it's possible. I believe in you guys.
Says that it indicates. He's talking about the same media that spent 4 years telling you that Donald Trump was quite literally Adolf Hitler.
No, not quite literally Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler, for all of his genocidal mania and his rampant drug use, was at least for a time a capable governor of stuff. Like some of the ideas were his. They failed later because he was a lunatic, and he was, the only thing they really share is ego and bad hair.
Today, America First. It was not just the racial, the Hitlerian background to it.
It almost feels like a little
Okay. Now, Rob, you can't just whip that. That's, by the way, that's Chris Matthews telling the truth about that. First, like, what is it? 1935 when that was around. Yeah, there it is. What he's referring to is quite specific. Whoops, let me shrink this down. So, what Chris Matthews is referring to is the America First Committee. Was the foremost United States isolationist pressure group against American entry into World War II. It was a pro-Nazi movement. Thought the Nazis were doing the good work of getting rid of some Jews for them, and so they were like, we should just stay out. Many communists made use of the AFC as well as the anti-Semitic and pro-fascist speakers who became its leaders. Membership peaked at 800,000 paying members in 450 chapters. By the way, it's weird that that's the same number of non-citizens that can vote in local elections in New York City right now. Maybe it's a balancing factor. In 450 chapters, making the AFC one of the largest anti-war organizations in the history of the United States. By the way, the anti-war movement, I don't know that the anti-war movement would enjoy that inclusion. Yes, the isolationists, just let them wipe out the Jews. That I don't know that qualifies as anti-war. So there you go. The committee dissolved in December 10th, 1941, 3 days after the attack at Pearl Harbor brought the United States into the war. Yeah, it's amazing how they were like, oh, well then, oh, wait a minute, the Jets are hitting us. Come on, man. Then suddenly they're like, oh, actually, the co-founder of Quaker Oats started that, along with other future President Gerald Ford was in it, future Peace Corps Director Sergeant Shriver, future U.S. Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart. At its peak, America First claimed 800,000 dues-paying members in 450 chapters located mostly in a 300-mile radius of Chicago. My favorite city in the whole wide world. 135,000 members in 60 chapters throughout Illinois, its strongest state. Fundraising drives produced more than $370,000 from 25,000 contributors. Nearly half came from a few millionaires. William H. Regnery. I'll just pronounce it in its original way. H. Smith Richardson of the Vic chemical company. So imagine all those kids had stuff rubbed on their chests, were supporting the Nazis. You just love the Nazis. If you got an antihistamine rubbed on your chest by your mom, General Robert Wood of Sears Roebuck, Patterson, a bunch of these folks thought it was just a European war at one point, and then a lot of them changed their mind later. But still, Robert E. Wood, anybody Robert E. We're talking trouble. Lindbergh, notorious anti-Semite. Lillian Gish and Frank Lloyd Wright supported America First initially. 2 future presidents, John F. Kennedy and Gerald Ford, supported and contributed to the organization. When he donated $100 to AFC, Kennedy attached a note that read simply, "What you're doing is vital." Ford was one of the first members of the AFC when a chapter formed at Yale University. Potter Stewart, a future Supreme Court justice, served on the original committee of the AFC, the America First movement. Oh, why does it do that? My Mini restarts all the time. It's really strange. What's up, Minnie? What you doing? So, because it's got my chat on it, and I can't see it until it wakes back up, and then it takes a moment for it to get back to where it was, and then it'll start playing music because I got other stuff on there, and then the whole thing falls apart, and then I don't know what's going on. It's terrible. There you go, and we'll reload so I can see the chat. Hi, chat. And by the way, thanks for gifting the subs, Finvar. That's awesome. And Sandy, thank you so much for the super chats. And Julie, I said earlier, thank you for the super chat in the morning show, and then I went back. I didn't see it till after I'd gone off the air, so I came back on and said, and I'm saying it again. Hi, thank you. Sorry I missed it at the time. I was singing or something. Lizzie Dog, thank you so much as well. Georgina and Kimchi and Sherry Stone and Cursed Lurs and It Getter 9. Thank you guys so much. And thanks for the bits on Twitch, you guys. Much love. Where's our, let me see. Now, since my computer had to restart, I can check for 1 second while we're dealing with the America First crazy people. We can check. We are currently at, what's our, come on, Twitch numbers, 815. We're down 10 subscribers. I don't know how that works. Anyways, 815 subscribers on Twitch. We'll get there. I'm just going to keep soldiering at it, reminding everybody. And then 833 sub points. Okay, let's go. It's a lot of work keeping that number up. I don't know why, but it just is. Because everybody has to re-up every month and then people forget. And there's like a folding number of people who forget every yeah, so it was started to keep us from stopping the Germans from carrying out their good work. Look at this. Let's stay out of Europe's war. Make America safe for democracy. This is one of the America First rally. There's a big Defend America First. That's the other thing, too. It was the Defend America First initially, the DAF thing. And then Pearl Harbor, everybody was like, oh, well, fuck that. Except for Ford. Like, Henry Ford was like, actually. But yeah, so that's what he's talking about. It's a reference to the anti-Semitic, let's let Europe work their own shit out.
Cleansing is going on in the United States right now.
Increasingly, Donald Trump is turning this nation into Nazi Germany.
Trump no doubt learned from any number of authoritarian leaders over the last 90 years. Ataturk, Franco, Mussolini, Stalin, and Hitler.
Yeah. That's, by the way, not technically, Rob, that's not him saying he's literally Hitler. He's saying he learned from those people, especially Mussolini, which is how he learned to keep his jowls hidden.
It's amazing.
This is a Tucker Carlson thing, by the way, too. If you'll notice, a bunch of these guys, they try to laugh off these criticisms. They set up the idea that these people are saying something that they're not, and at the end they laugh at the extraordinary nature of how the people they said were going to say something never said that thing, but oh my God, can you believe they said that thing? This happens a bunch.
What you get when you try to just have, a country with borders and common sense immigration.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, yes. Everyone who's tried to pass the comprehensive immigration reform bill that's been languishing in the Senate for years, every one of those folks has been called Hitler.
In policy, you get these idiots calling you Adolf Hitler. It is astounding. It is amazing. And Dana Milbank.
Well, what's astounding and amazing is that you have the same sort of visual and auditory comprehension skills that Dan Bongino, who is looking for a teepee for his bunghole, has. Apparently, that's right? That's because we just saw what happened there. Congratulations, Rob.
Did have shade.
You're the Cenk Uygur of Newsmax right now.
One of the greatest hits of the year, of course. The media is so tough on Joe Biden, of course, that they are opening the doors of their newsrooms to Biden officials looking to directly shape the coverage of their own administration. Did you see this from the new CNN doing some real reporting over there finally? The White House,
not happy with the news media's coverage of the supply chain and economy, has been working behind the scenes to try to reshape coverage in its favor. White House quietly tries to reshape economic coverage. Let me see. Now, I don't think CNN would be defensive about the fact that they've been bullshitting the American people. I can't imagine that, and I'm glad, I think we're all glad in many ways, that that Rob
Did have shade.
yeah, him, that he is very concerned. Let's see, I'm trying this out. I have to put this in the right thing. White House quietly tries to reshape. This is we'll look at this CNN. There you go. Hacker News. Whoops, this is it. Why Combinator to White House not having a go? New. Let's just put it in the news. Tries to reshape economic coverage. CNN. Why shouldn't consider? White House not happy with the news media's. Okay, hold on. Why would this article not come up? It's weird to me that particular headline doesn't come up as a CNN. Because what comes up when I get that, let me see this, is this thing, which is on Hacker News, White House. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if this will take me to the link. There you go. Reliable sources. Here it goes. Who has the power? I got the power. Cuomo gave his word. There it is. Scoop. It says scoop right here. Scoop. There it is. Scoop. There it is. Scoop. All right. How do people not do that when they're taking their dog for a walk? All right. White House quietly tries to reshape economic coverage. The White House, not happy with the news media's coverage of the supply chain and economy, has been working behind the scenes trying to reshape coverage in its favor. Senior White House administration officials, including NEC Deputy Director David Kamen and Bharat Rahamurthy, along with Ports and Envoy John Bakari, have been briefing major newsroom over the past week, a source tells me. The officials have been discussing with newsroom trends pertaining to job creation, economic growth, supply chains, and more. The basic argument that has been made that the country's economy is in much better shape than it was last year. I'm told the conversations have been productive, with anchors and reporters and producers getting to talk with officials. I'm told the conversations have been productive, with anchors and reporters and producers getting to talk with the officials, not at or getting talked at by the officials, getting to talk with them. And this is a scoop from reliable sources. This is Brian Stelter and Oliver Darcy. Let's see. So that's all there is to this part. Related, Dana Melmack was on CNN Monday to talk about his column. He told Brian Kyler that the news media needs to do some soul searching to see what we're delivering to the people. Why is it related? Why would that be related? Well, it turns out that they've been lying to the people. They've been these conversations have been productive. They didn't now at this point have been discussed, like, not happy with their, has been working behind the scenes to try and reshape coverage in its favor. in the White House's favor or the economy's favor. That's not clear. So there you go. Have been briefing major newsrooms over the past week. Officials have been discussing with newsroom trends pertaining to job creation, economic growth, supply chains, more. The basic argument has been made: the country's economy is in much better shape than it was last year. Here's another thing, and I know this is just a scoop related to it, but is that true or not? One would think in this scoop, Brian Stelter, that you would include which is materially true or which is materially false. Right? Because we knew that these motherfuckers were clearly lying. All right. Tuesday Planner. Joe Biden will speak to Vladimir Putin at 10 a.m. I'm going to have to, I guess I have to bookmark the reliable sources thing so I get to take a chunk out of basically like, this is like, it's like being in their stacked, like here's some notes I made on a story that's incomplete. Chris Cuomo departs his Sirius XM show. He's gone. That's interesting. That's fucking interesting, man. Okay. Nowhere in this does it state that they're trying to manipulate people or threaten them or make them report something that is untrue, which is what Rob Schitt would like you to think. Just for the record.
Not happy with the news media's coverage of the supply chain and economy, has been working behind the scenes trying to reshape coverage in its favor. Senior White House and administration officials have been briefing.
By the way, can I just say for the record that according to Rob Schinnerney, Brian Stelter and Oliver Darcy are indeed reliable sources. Because you have to understand what we're actually hearing here as well. This is kind of it's like we're having a moment, you know. It's like don't shock Rob. He might have to recognize he's had a breakthrough. Is that he's using Brian Stelter as a source that is reliable for this claim. If Brian Stelter says this is how it's going down, this is true. This is real. This is them doing real news. CNN's not lying CNN right now. CNN is telling nothing but the truth. This is unfiltered. If you want, and by the way, watch how they and the right wing talk about Brian Stelter the rest of the time. I mean, honestly. But, you know, we'll take our little victories where we can get them.
Major newsrooms over the past week. Nothing to see here, folks. Just a White House.
They've been briefing them? So what's a briefing? Is that where the person comes in and gives you information? Did the briefing involve waterboarding?
Controlling a complicit media that helped this White House get into power and helped Joe Biden get into power. And now they're saying, no, we're going to come over here. We're going to tell you how to do your job now. Nothing to see here. No big story there, right? Donald Trump Jr.
Well, in their defense, you guys have barely taken your mouth off of Trump's butthole since he came down the escalator.
Joins us tonight to talk more about this.
Oh, speaking of Trump's butthole, way to hit your cue, man.
Good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming on.
I'm still crying from that video clip of how asinine it is, Rob. It's just ridiculous. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, but you also couldn't make up the...
First of all, I'm offended that people think that I can't make stuff up. Just because I tell the truth all the time on my show and defend the truth does not mean I don't have a great imagination. I can make up anything. Why would I? If you're going to say you can't make this stuff up, the idea that asshole's dad was president for 3.25 years
of the last 5 years, and them trying to run cover for Joe Biden is truly sad. I mean, in watching that, you know how to solve the problem of bad coverage if you're a Democrat? Be competent. You saw him, again, end of message. He at Bob Dole's funeral, he's reading, the subtext. He called it the United Steak of America the other day. I mean, if he could get something right.
Okay, I think if we, there might be a chance that while he was on a coke snorting bender, he banged his head into the refrigerator and all the refrigerator poetry squares came down and his face had become magnetized, or he just breathed them in. And these are the words that came out in whatever order.
Trust me, I'm an American. I have 5 young kids. I want him to be successful, even if I think his policies and he himself is an idiot. Yeah. But I want him to be successful because I still live in this country. There's just nothing to be happy about.
Yeah, you should, by the way, for the record, because of who your dad is, you can't just say, because I live in this country. You have to say America. Otherwise, we just assume you're in the Caymans.
Because everything's a disaster. They talk about gas.
And by the way, he has young kids. How much time he spends with them, that's another conversation. The only time we've seen him with them, because they're with his ex, I don't know if he's got visitation or what the deal is, not my business. But the only time he's brought them up is on a Zoom call recently.
Gas went down 2 cents. Look, if you look in this window of a 1-day period, gas went down. But if you zoom out to the last year, you see that it's $1 higher than it was. They don't tell you.
Yeah, and if you zoom out further than that, it's 10 cents difference.
Things, and the media is so pre-programmed to be the marketing arm.
Sorry, 16 cents.
The Democrat Party. That it's so bad, even they can't do that job anymore.
Exactly, and that's the whole point. The point is that they want to be as easy as they can on it, but you can only ignore the house burning down for so long before you actually just have to tell people.
So, the house is fine. It's the Christmas tree that's on fire. Try to keep up, Rob.
Yeah, you know the house is kind of burning down. And that's why when they look at the numbers, they see as much negative coverage. It's not because you didn't have equivalent presidencies. You had one that's been really terrible and one that was actually going well that they were trying to make terrible. And so when you do that,
yeah, and by they trying to make terrible, he meant the pandemic response team. If they'd only showed up for work,
get equivalent coverage at the same time. It's hysterical. I want you to take a listen to CNBC's Jim Cramer, who is clearly going off the deep end. Take a listen to this.
Yes, Jim Cramer, notorious progressive Jim Cramer.
To me, we have the strongest economy perhaps I have ever seen. See that number this morning, the unemployment number? It's the best in years. It's not best in 69.
I mean, I don't know how anybody can be on CNBC and really think this is the best economy we've had in that long. I mean, they're pointing at one number. We have a horrific labor market.
By the way, one number. That number would be the number of Americans working. Wages are also up for those very same people. Since the lowest number since 1969. September of 1969. When I was born.
Now, anybody that runs a business will tell you that we have rampant inflation. He's talking about unemployment, ignoring the fact that there are so many people that are now, it seems, going to stay out of the labor market, maybe forever.
Well, they're
going to stay out of the labor market forever because in a 2-person household, their partner is now making enough that one of them can watch the kids. And they can, you do realize part of the goal of conservatives used to be that, and granted it was only the men, but that there would be one breadwinner in a house and the partner, usually the wife, but not necessarily, could stay home and raise children because you didn't have to have both of you working full time just to make ends meet.
The stats. I mean, it's almost ridiculous to watch. I don't think we should be surprised that we're seeing that out of CNBC because they are one of the biggest perpetrators of this kind of false narrative to boost the Democrats. But Jim Cramer talking about that.
Yeah, CNBC's always been about boosting Democrats. CNBC doesn't literally talk into squawk to like Wall Street almost solely. By the way, both of these fuckers turn on CNBC when they're trying to make a decision about a stock buy. They don't turn on Fox Business because they know Fox Business is completely peopled with Trumpies who are morons about finance right now.
Asinine, because someone like him knows better, and you know that if you're not looking for work for a certain period of time, you're no longer in the workforce. You don't count. So there are millions of people who are sitting on the sidelines, and it's like they don't even exist.
No, there aren't. As a matter of fact, 1 million more jobs were created than they believed would come back. Beyond the number that people just went back to work, 1 million more jobs were created this year so far than they thought would just be people going back to work. 1 million more people. Everybody that was working under Trump when he supposedly said everything was awesome, plus 1 million. Oh, hi, buddy. Somebody came in to visit me. Hello. Hi, sweetheart. Look who came in to say hi. Look who knows it's 5 o'clock. Look who knows it's 5 o'clock. Look at this, buddy. Hi. Were you taking a nap? You were very sleepy earlier. You were yawning a lot when you were purring. You're such a sweet boy. He's such a sweet boy. You are such a sweet boy. It's true. Even when you bite my bicep, you're a sweet boy. For the record, can we just like clarify this little piece that, well, hold on, let me back up. I got distracted by Kitty. Let me make sure I'm in the same point. Hold on. Hi. He's just
then there are millions of people who are sitting on the sidelines, and it's like they don't even exist based on that one.
No. Even with the population growth since 1969, this is percentage of the available workers and sheer number. Both of them true. Best working numbers since 1969. Which is, by the way, just about the last time you know, maybe 75, when you really could have a single paycheck household for a family of 4. Which is, again, something that conservatives supposedly are for, that people should be able to check out of working because the other partner is making enough money, has a secure enough job, and they can have a traditional nuclear family, all that stuff that they allegedly believe in. That used to be a positive. Guess not anymore. Guess the whole point is we need everybody. I load 16 tons. What do you get? Some number 9 coal. Yeah.
Statistic, but it paints a rosy picture if you are speaking to people who don't understand how these things work. If you talk about the true numbers,
that's right. Yes, rosy picture for just the totally uninitiated. So tell you what, Junior, you run a $1 billion company. You're always in the office. There's always people around you because you do your little videos in between people. He's just curling up. It's so cute. Yeah, buddy. I know. You're just sweet. Yes, you are. He's purring and just passing out. You have, tons of staff, multiple assistants. I mean, it's $1 billion company. It's $1 billion company. I mean, I don't even know. How the fuck is that house empty behind you? How is it that in all the environments we see Don Jr. in, nothing ever changes behind him? Wherever he is, shit was exactly where it was sitting on a table or on a countertop or on a shelf. Is it exactly the same position it was the last time we saw him? Every time we see his office, if there's anything, it's just more shit piled up to be ignored. Yeah, there's furniture. Is any of it his? Is he in a rental property? Because there's been a bunch of these places where there's a bunch of shelves and there's just fuck all on them. Right? But, this guy's a boss. Runs $1 million company. He's a 3rd generation rich kid. He's got gilded toenails or some shit. Right? He was born with a silver cock ring in his mouth. At some point, he's going to tell you. He's going to please, Don Jr., Rob knows he's in New York City. Look at his suit. That dude pals around with other, guys from the roadshow of American Psycho that pass off as his friends. No one likes him. No one is ever happy to see Rob Schmidt coming through the door. I will state that unequivocally. Even his employees who know that they are employed for one more day if he shows up for work are like, fuck that guy.
about the true workforce participation levels. If you look at what's going on, you realize we're in a scary place. We're giving up our
Oh, sorry. So if you look at what's going on, yeah, we did. Do you think Kramer doesn't, quote unquote, look at what's going on?
Energy independence. We're giving Russia pipelines. Our president's like,
we don't have the right to give or take anyone's pipeline away. We can pressure people, but also I have made this argument, and I've told you fucking guys a bunch of times, that the entire purpose behind the Biden administration being for this pipeline, letting it happen, is because Russia will put all of its natural gas eggs in one basket. And a sanction that shuts down that pipeline is an enormous amount of pressure the United States has. How are my nails looking? Not as good, because I was strumming earlier on the guitar and I scratched them up. I'm not. This is what, like I said, my fourth manicure in 10 years. These guys, if you want to talk manicures, talk to these guys. These are guys that always have time to get their nails done. Just saying.
trying to cede a portion of the Ukraine to Russia. I remember then when that was kind of problematic, right? I remember when a phone call with someone in Ukraine was an impeachable offense, giving a third of their land.
Well, that's because your dad was trying to get them to open up a fake investigation, announce it as election pressure on his opponent, not because he gave a shit about Ukraine either way. We, on the other hand, are, what's he accusing us of? Giving a portion of Ukraine away to who?
Apparently trying to cede a portion of the Ukraine to Russia. I remember then when that was kind of problematic, right? I remember when a phone call with someone in Ukraine was an impeachable offense, giving a third of their landmass to Russia. No problem. It's nothing to see here, folks. This is what we're used to, and it's why very few people actually trust.
Is he talking about the Donbass and Crimea stuff from years ago? Well, I mean, it's one thing. If you're going to cede it, then why didn't Trump help him take it back if it mattered to him?
Media, because a guy like Jim Cramer, who's there to talk about business, is still functioning as that marketing arm. It's truly sick, and it's ridiculous. There's just nothing more.
Well, sick and ridiculous are all well and good, and try not to use too much, economic mumbo jumbo with us, Don Jr. Not all of us went to Wharton, so we may not understand all this crazy, like these technical terms. Maybe give us some actual numbers as opposed to just sticking your finger in your own ass and smelling the tip and falling off a limb and calling it analysis.
About it, it's just ridiculous.
No, trust me, I'm right there with you. I want to show you something though, because the American people.
Good, I'm right there with you, bro. Like you and me both, buddy. Like, look at us. We're both like, we got basically the same hairdo, bruh.
Despite the power of the media, and they do have a lot of power, despite what they've done.
Hold on. They? Fucko, you're in the media. I wouldn't consider my show mainstream by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't claim to not be in the media somehow.
Still see what's going on. The re-election polling from TIP. Look at this. Reported in the Boston Herald
from
today.
TIP.
22.
December 7th, Biden re-election poll shows dismal 22% support. But yeah, doesn't matter. Won't matter. Doesn't matter.
% for Biden.
It's amazing. It's amazing how polling really looks like shit when, where is it? When you ask people about gas prices and you don't show them this chart first. But we'll be fine. Yep. Hang on to that. Please cling to that. Matter of fact, tell your dad to announce he's running right away, Don.
Election, Kamala Harris at 12%. This is their support in 2024. Can you fathom numbers like that? I mean, that is just unbelievably bad.
I can totally fathom.
Well, it's by the way, it's why his dad never got us out of Afghanistan. It's precisely why. It is exactly why Trump never left Afghanistan, because everybody told him that as soon as you bring that up, it's going to crater. You're fucked. And that's why he started pushing that I'm a wartime president, that shit during COVID. This is basically war. This is the biggest thing since World War II. I'm a wartime president. That's why I pushed that, because it was the only thing keeping his numbers afloat was the fact that this thing had hit the entire world. So he was like, any of my fuck-ups, let me look at the other fuck-ups. Look at India. I don't know. Like, that's what salvaged part of his numbers.
Like that. Honestly, it should be much worse. But again, you have...
By the way, EVP, the Trump Organization, Executive Vice President. He and Eric have been demoted from the job they never did in the first place to a job they are not currently doing, and that no one is doing.
$1 trillion industry. You know, the mainstream media. You have another $1 trillion industry in big tech with Google and everyone else. You have another $1 trillion industry in social media that is running still cover for it. The mainstream media, they're starting to lose total credibility, so they have to talk about some of the bad things, but they're still making a very...
Some of the bad things. Don, you were doing a line before he brought you on, so I don't expect you to have heard the interview, you know, the segment before you came on, but he was doing a thing about how literally, and it was Dana Milbank had an AI company run a program to check 200,000 articles on Biden and Trump coverage around the exact same time period, year over year. You know, I love that phrase, year over year. And they were just literally, they've been clowning on Biden since we decided to leave Afghanistan. You know, that thing your dad ran on but could never fucking do.
Conscious effort to cover up what's actually going on. Yep. But Americans see it. Rob, if I'm sitting there understanding my background, who my father is, where I come from, if I'm sitting there and filling up my truck and I'm upset, and I'm like, this is...
Hold on. Citation needed. First of all, your dad's supposedly a billionaire. You're supposedly a billionaire, or at least heir to a multi-billion-dollar fortune. And you get mad filling up your truck? Hang the fuck out. I'm dead serious. Ladies and gentlemen, listening to the sound of my voice, who have gone through the process. You're going to go over there and run around? Where are you going, buddy? Oh, he's just going to... Chip saw something on the floor he needed to pounce on. What you doing, buddy? No, don't play with that. Okay. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you under the... No. What are you doing? Hi. You just sitting near the light under there? Okay. You can sit on the... He's sitting on my GPU. Hi. Such a good boy. Yeah, you are. Such a handsome man. Yes, you are. Chip is great. We love Chip. He's just like, I'm just going to sit on this thing. I know you like it, so I think I'll just sit on it. I may fart. I may not. Oh no, we dropped below 800 on subscribers. I must have said something wrong on Twitch. See, it literally happens. Look at that. We're at 798. Woohoo. Don't forget to subscribe, like, thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. Think about this. I really want you to think about this for a second. Many of you have filled up your tank recently, and it's been because you either had to do it close to the freeway, like a major freeway. If you're in LA or like on my way back and forth, that I've gone from Vegas to LA back and forth a couple times. Oh, bless you so much. Oh, you got us above 8. Oh, guys. Thanks so much. Hold on. Thanks, Mark Kremer. Thank you for gifting the tier 1 subs. You probably filled up your tank and gone, ooh, that was expensive. I've done it. You know, many of you have seen the picture that I threw a shoe. My tire went flat driving to Vegas last time, or driving from Vegas to LA last time. And I had to like go to this place and get my friggin' like tire replaced. And I was filling it with air. It was a big to-do. And I filled it up with gas. And it was like, the place I went to was like, I think it was in Baker, where they really have you because you can't go anywhere else. And the gas was like $4.58 a gallon. Yes, gas just went down 20 cents a gallon this week. I know that exactly. That's from the stuff that was released before, and the rest of the countries of the world that aligned with Biden and released some of their gas to lower the prices to their own refineries in that process. Now, and this is one of those places where they've got you. You can't if you need gas. And I think I topped off my tank there, but I if you need gas, they've got you by the cojones. And which is, it's understandable. You're out there in the middle of nowhere. You kind of own everybody who drives through. It's good to be the king. And so it's obviously, if you're searching for, high gas prices, that's where you're going to find them. And you fill it up and you're like, oh, well, shit. All right, well, hopefully I'll find a cheaper way to do it and all that kind of stuff, right? Maybe I'll find a cheaper place when I get closer to a city. Maybe I'll buy it closer into the center, right? That kind of stuff. Hi, where are you going, young man? Hold on one second. He's in, hold on. Where are you going? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, Mr. Man? You don't go into the bathroom. No, because then you get into the shower, and then if the shower is wet, you get all wet yourself. And then what? Then what, Mr. Man? What are you doing? You're clowning around. You're clowning around like a maniac. Here, head out this way, and I'll be with you in a little bit. I'm almost done. Love you. Bye. Thank you. Summer's upstairs. Think she's home. Go for it. Okay, so he's so cute, but he goes into the shower, and if I took a shower earlier, and it's gonna be the floors will be damp, and then he's gonna walk around with wet paws, and he's gonna go into the litter box, and he's gonna go to the bathroom, and he's going to walk out of the litter box with wet paws and just track litter dust all over the floor. Don't ask me how I know that. So anyways, where were we? Oh yeah, gas prices. I filled it up and I've been like, oh, that's expensive, And I've just kind of deal with the reality of it. It's just life. I don't think I'm special. I don't think I deserve cheaper gas. It's just part and parcel to the time I live in, the circumstance we're going through. It's life, right? I'm not pissed about it. I'm aware of the cost, and I'm aware that I have to make up that cost elsewhere through gigs I accept and stuff like that, right? Right? But in the meantime, if you're getting pissed about it, if you're angry about what it takes to fill up your truck, and you're allegedly a billionaire, you're a dick. Or you're lying. You're not actually a billionaire. That would be the other possibility. So let's hear him describe this again. Rob, who does not drive, I'm guessing New York City, probably, I would like to watch this guy show me that he knows how to drive stick. That would be hilarity.
Come from. If I'm sitting there and filling up my truck and I'm upset and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, no, but seriously.
Yeah, if you're like upset and this is ridiculous, you're a prick. You drive a giant truck you're filling with super unleaded or what have you. The idea that they give the illusion of being blue collar to people would be their excuse why they pump their own gas. But Mitt Romney does that.
Like, I get it.
Yeah.
It must drive the average American insane.
Yeah, you guys, these guys are not average. It must drive us insane. It doesn't. It doesn't. The average American is not being driven insane by gas prices. We're aware that they're up, but they're up over the last year when we didn't do anything. And most of us are in a business that if we can make more money doing what we're doing this year to make up for the fact we made no money last year, we would do it within whatever margin we possibly could without destroying our business.
Just not it, right? We're supposed to lower our expectations because Shell.
Does John Jr. drive a Hummer? you'd have to ask Rob.
Are empty during the holiday season. We're just supposed to forget about that. We're supposed to turn
Sorry. What? Wait a minute. What are we supposed to forget? I missed that part.
American insane. And that's just not it, right? We're supposed to lower our expectations because shelves are empty during the holiday season. We're just supposed to.
Oh, yeah. And he would know, because not only does he pump his own gas and get mad, but when he goes to buy Christmas presents for his kids he sees on Zoom, the shelves are empty, guys. Guys, the shelves are empty. They're don't believe these well-known progressives running Walmart and Target. Don't those woke CEOs of Walmart and Target that are going to tell you that they have plenty of stuff for the holidays? Don't believe the people who've actually gotten a PlayStation 5 this year after not being able to get one all last year. Those people are clearly woke and bullshitting you. They're just lying to you to defend Joe Biden. Who believes this fucker has seen a shelf at all, much less an empty one? If this fucker pumps his own gas, the only shelves he's ever seen is when he goes in to one of these places to buy something from, like some whatever shit food his family eats.
About that. We're supposed to turn into the proverbial asshole country, and we're supposed to be just fine with that. Well, we're America. We shouldn't be just fine with that. We should be fighting against that nonsense.
Well said.
Well, here's the thing. I would be against us turning into a shithole country. I'm also against people calling us a shithole country by proxy, by lying about everything. By thinking that the value of this country only exists when this fuckhead's dad is in charge. What kind of shitty view of the United States must you have that you believe it only has value when some dickhead, from a wealthy family is running it? What kind of neo-monarchical bullshit is this? I mean, think about how insulting that is to the country. The standard and quality of America and the value of this country should be its ability to not only thrive in times when the leadership is great and bringing down unemployment to numbers we haven't seen since 1969, or how we weather a pandemic as a country. It should also be measured in how well we could ride out a second-generation rich kid asshole and his moron kids running the place. I mean, I'm actually more patriotic for how America has survived this dickhead's family than I was even before, and that's difficult considering, quite frankly, how much I love this country to start, and what a proud Obama voter I was. See what I mean? Oh, now I've got to do push-ups. I will do them off. I still have to set the camera up so we can do them on the floor over here. It'll give well, maybe no, that one won't work. I don't need. I'm already a half hour over. I'm gonna set up another camera live. I've already done graphics on the fly today.
Donald Trump Jr., thank you so much for taking the time. Good to see you as always.
Thanks for calling us from your tuning in from your shithole rental property that's powered by Pottery Barn, wearing your big tech AirPods from that woke company Apple that's all woke and stuff. But he wears these. He didn't just wear these just because he's wearing them. It's because they're a status symbol of wealth. Otherwise, if he didn't give a shit, if he just felt wealthy, he could do what I do, which is regular run-of-the-mill plug-in headphones, get an extension cable, run them up over your ears. When I had short hair, that's what I did. Run them up over your ears and down your back, and nobody can see the wires, and you can hear, but you're not like, look at me, I've got AirPods in. About that ding. Look at my Beats by Dre. I mean, God, Lord, for Christmas, I want you to save us from these new money assholes. Please. It's not, I don't ask often, and I don't ask for much. And I don't ask loudly. These are, by the way, these headphones, I got these in a truck stop. Speaking of trucks and gas and shit like that. And they look like bullets. See? Look at that. Look at me out machoing the exotic animal pinned down world hunter and his American psycho compatriot. These were fucking $12 or something. I needed them because I was like, all right, those look cool. I think I got bullets stuck in my ear. That's funny. My favorite ones are my Captain America ones, but I lost them. I think I left them in a hotel when we were doing Sexy Liberal. And then I have like these little $5 ones you get at the airport. I have dozens of pairs of these over the years, and I keep them coiled up in case I need a pair on the fly or if they fail because they're not the greatest a lot of times. And so you have a backup version of these, right? See, nobody can see these when I wear them. They're just black with a little bit of silver, or even the ones I'm wearing, because I don't need you guys to think my words have meaning because I'm rich. My wealth or my lack thereof should have no bearing on whether or not I'm telling you the truth. If I'm giving investment advice, I should be wearing like gold, like limited edition or the red AirPod limited editions that cost extra money or whatever the fuck. That's fine. If you're like, I'm a financial advisor for the rich and famous, these are my gold AirPods, and just knock yourself out. I'm rich? No. But what I'm saying is, in my own inimitable way, I am, in that I don't feel like I have to show off the fact that I have AirPods like some fucking high schooler in an interview to make myself look important. And this, understand something. These fuckers own, the banks own them, but let's go on what they're selling you. We're not talking about millionaires. Bernie Sanders is a multi-millionaire. He sold a bunch of books, made a lot of money. Nothing wrong with that. Hassan Piker on Twitch, multi-millionaire, socialist Marxist with millions of dollars who bought a giant $3 million home. Whatever. And if you look at his room where he does his stuff, it looks like shit. He just lives like he lives. It has not changed him at all. He even tells his maid that he pays under the table to avoid taxes. He even tells her, I'm kidding. It's true, but I'm kidding. It's probably true. It's definitely true. I don't know if it's true, but it's probably true. It's fucking. He's just wearing headphones you could buy. Anybody can get. Now, it might be because he makes money off of it. I don't know. He may have his own brand of, maybe he sells, like those people who, a lot of YouTubers sell those, Steph does them sometimes. There's a brand of AirPods, of earbuds that they sell or whatever. So it's one of the big marketing things on there. But they get a free pair and they wear them all the time to show off, right? It is true though. Yeah, Raycon. Thank you. The Raycons. I appreciate you, Bibley. Yeah, Raycon. They all sell the Raycons, so they use them. Now they're not expensive. They're probably, what are they? $60, $112 for the nice ones, $160 for the 5.0 ones. I don't know, whatever. I don't have them, so I don't know. But they wear them and they're like, I'm selling these things, and therefore it's kind of constant advertising and whatever. That's fine. They're $80. Okay. So, which is, if you have earbuds that are fast enough for gaming, they're going to be a little pricier than the shitty ones that I use to do radio or while I'm listening to music on my iPad while I'm reading while I fly. So, they're fine. You know what I mean? But you wear them because you're like, hey, my audience buys them and I get a piece, and don't forget to use promo code, whatever. Like, see a bunch of that, right? This asshole is always decrying big tech, big tech, big tech, fucking big tech. Of which Apple is one of the big woke companies. They're woke, these woke companies, they support woke Democrats. They're wokey wokes. Apple's one of these woke companies that supports the Biden, criminal family and blah, blah, blah. And yet, bing, these motherfuckers, promo code stole election, right? These fuckers are never without these things in their ears, which means he either is a liar and a shitty shopper, or he's wearing them for show, which is exactly what he's doing. He's wearing them for show, which means he wants you to think he's rich because he has $179 earbuds. These are the AirPods Pro. That's what it is. I have them. I love my AirPods Pro. I wear them when I work out. But when I'm doing an interview on a news show, I use a plugged-in headphone. I have an extension cord that I bought also at a truck stop. Honestly, these places are great for like low-tech gear. An extension cord for a mic cable. The hard one is finding the tip ring sleeve ones. You guys know. I don't have to tell you this. And you plug your headphones into there, and I can do. I'm hardwired like a real newsroom, because if the batteries fail in the middle of my show, it's just not another thing I need to deal with. This is the point I'm trying to make is this motherfucker is trying desperately to convince you that he isn't a broke son of a bitch with no good ideas, and that his father hasn't completely shit the bed for their company, and that they're all in desperate financial trouble. I'm not talking about like normal financial trouble where like, man, I've been hit, medical bills that we all go through, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the real downside of a major crash. The kind where you lose hundreds of millions of dollars of money that weren't yours to begin with, and you owe hundreds of millions of dollars on the other side. Not, I lost all my money, right? That's how most people end up, right? Yes, negative 168 million plus. That's why Trump was allegedly, his daughter apparently told his story. Ivanka told his story about how he was walking by a bum in the street, as she said, and he said, that guy's worth more than I am. That's still true. So the hypocrite guy who constantly decries woke companies wants you to think he's got money because he's wearing Apple AirPods Pro. And this dickhead over here wants you to think that the media is lying because Brian Stelter, who they constantly call a liar, said that the administration is doing something that he actually doesn't say they're doing, which is manipulate newsrooms. They've been holding briefings with them so they don't like call them out as assholes in the press room like Trump did. They're going, guys, you're not being fair, and here's why we think so. Does that necessarily guarantee a change in coverage? Does it mean that people like Brian Stelter won't report on that attempt? Right? No. I lost my screen, went sleepy because I'm late. It's a mutiny amongst my computers. This is an important distinction, and I want you guys, I think more than anything, to pay attention to that part of stuff.